What's up? My hair's gone, but my name's still Lex. That's Brian. This is Steven. And Steven, have someone famous let us know who we are.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Ken from Boston Celtics. This is the Awkward Side Hug.
I have two things I want to say. So, first, everyone's gonna be like, "Wait, but who is that famous person?" And then, second, imagine every time you got a haircut, you had to change your name, because you're like, "I'm still Lex." Imagine you had to change your name or your identity every time.
Dang. It's like, no, don't worry, I'm still Lex. I'm just
So,
I had nothing. I don't know why I started talking. Go ahead.
elephant in the room. So let's talk about your haircut. Mid-sip.
Yeah, it's I think since the beginning of quarantine, I had that itch as a few people out there did, I'm sure. Like as I saw like their Instagram stories, and I even saw like a lot of people do it. I was just like,
Just do it.
do it. I just got frustrated. I was just like, man, I just want to like shave my head. But I got lucky with like a haircut appointment abortion.
Whoa.
I guess it's technically the same thing, right?
You got a haircut abortion? Is that what we're gonna call it?
I don't know if you. Yeah, that's. Oh man.
It's a hair abortion.
Oh man.
Oh, that was wild. Yeah, dude, this this new haircut is just making me so edgy all of a sudden. Yeah, so I got lucky with an appointment. I got a haircut like a few months into the initial March lockdown or whatever. And then this time around, for some reason, it was a little bit harder. So they opened back up. They were forced to close back down for a little bit, but you know, like my shop was still taking appointments, but it's just like the appointments were filled, and like they're like the next available one wasn't until like October.
Are you serious? Is this 2% or is this a different place?
Oh, different place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure 2% isn't as bad, but it'll probably be. I'm sure that one's busy too right now, but it's not.
If you guys don't know, but starting tomorrow, I believe, in the San Bernardino County, barbershops and hair salons are open again.
Exactly.
So,
and guess who decided to shave their head a day before?
That guy, wherever he's at on the screen.
Yeah, right here. So basically,
Did you find out today?
No, you know what's funny? I went out like 2 or 3 days ago looking for haircuts or whatever, but every place is appointment only, right? And understandably so. And I was like, man, you know what? I just like, all right, I'll just suck it up and book like the mid-September appointment, because that was like the earliest one I saw last time with my main person. And then like the whole month was booked there. I was like, oh no, like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna like shave it. And then
So why was it important for you to not have hair?
because it was just humongous. It was getting out of hand.
Because we earlier, like I think it was Friday, we decided to have a Zoom meeting on how we're gonna set up our fantasy football league.
Yeah, and it was a full head of hair.
And you were part of that meeting, and I said your hair looked okay. And
I thought it looked okay, yeah.
yeah, and then you decided, like, you know what, I don't trust my friends' opinions. And you decided, like, I'm just gonna go with the G.I. Jane haircut.
Yeah, I look like a.
So you got your haircut aborted, huh?
Yeah.
Moral of the story?
Hair abortion. Man, this is. Yeah, we got to a real wild start, but yeah, cut it. I do feel lighter. I do feel, you know, like fresher, and I do feel happy that now I could at least maybe even just book one of those later haircut appointments now, and it'll be like normal by then. But I probably won't do it again because all I had was a beard trimmer, and it took hours, and I didn't realize how hard it is to cut your own hair, because like if you're right-handed, like, you know, like I got all the right-handed areas down perfectly, but with my left hand, like I couldn't even do it. So I literally did it with my right hand, and it was so hard to like hit everything. And I think I still have like patches somewhere. right here.
I think it was only hard because you used a beard trimmer.
That too. So do you have like actual clippers?
So I ordered clippers, which will be coming in.
Oh.
So I usually go over and to my mom's house, and my brother will just shave my head for me. But
Yeah.
when I do it by myself, it's easier with the huge ass, clippers. Huge ass clippers.
You got that hack?
Shouts out to the Clippers, by the way.
Oh, there you go. Those are some huge ass clippers too.
Speaking of the Clippers and the quarantine, and I'm trying to segue this. So we had a pretty interesting week in basketball, and I think it's just not a basketball topic; it's a social justice world topic. Because on was it Wednesday, Thursday, and technically Friday, basketball stopped. Like basketball's supposed to be played, the Bucks didn't show up, and then all the other NBA games got postponed, and the world didn't have basketball. But most importantly, it was to boycott the Jacob Blake. I was gonna say murder, but it wasn't a murder. It was just 7 shots, and it wasn't just. Sorry, but it was 7 shots.
We're all slipping this episode.
It was, I shouldn't be laughing. This is serious.
I know. I
But-
think I just started us off on the wrong foot with a hair abortion.
So, even though this is mid-afternoon and we're adults, we usually do this at night. So we've gone through a whole day
We're hazy.
of
Of
So-
mental exertion.
Yeah.
And right now, I feel like we're like, some of us just woke up a couple hours ago. So,
Mhm.
we're,
So
as I say that, Lex is yawning.
I know.
so-
Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. I yawn on the episode either way.
So we don't have to explain the Jacob Blake shooting, but he got shot 7 times in the back in front of his kids. It was very unjust. That's the right word, right? Okay.
You're looking over there to your picture for verification.
I was giving you guys a second to chime in. So the NBA boycotts some games, and not just the NBA, some MLB teams and some soccer teams and the WNBA boycotted their games and stuff like that. And we had a discussion over Call of Duty yesterday about this, and we thought we would bring it to the podcast. So what are you guys' thoughts?
As far as the boycott, NBA boycott, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because like I think even with the bubble initially, there was some pushback within the players themselves. A lot of players decided to, like, not to do it for their own reasons, whether it was health or other. And then I think with the Jacob Blake stuff, it was a much more unified, like, yo, we're just not going to play at all today. And I think I'm all for it. I think it was a good decision. I think the result was something that, like, Brian brought up yesterday. The result paid off in a way in that the boycott was on the news. It made headlines everywhere, and it even if it is like a huge spike and then a drop, at least that huge spike is there. But yeah, I think it was handled well. And I don't mind that the players are coming back either to sort of finish off the playoffs. But I also would be all for it if they decided, let's just end the playoffs here.
Because I remember Wednesday night. Was it Wednesday night? Might have been Thursday night. Wednesday night, I believe. I got news that the Clippers and the Lakers voted to end the season. Steven said it was just a poll.
I think it was Thursday.
So you think
Okay.
it was Thursday? My bad. You cut out, but it might have been me cutting out.
I thought Wednesday is when the Bucks didn't play, and then Thursday is when, like, all that news, the meetings and everything took place.
They decided Thursday morning. I thought that they were going to play, and then they decided not to have the Friday games and then play Saturday.
I don't know. I don't remember.
All right, so at that point, when the Clippers and Lakers decided that, and it sounded initially like it might be something that's like not necessarily official, but I remember I want to say it was Ramona Shelburne, it might have been somebody else, put like, hey, they voted that they don't want to play, but that doesn't mean they're leaving the bubble. Doesn't mean they're not going to. It just means that that's how they feel about the situation.
Mhm.
I was in full support. I was like, if the Clipper players, the team I root for, decided, and the coach and the owner decided they're not going to want to play, I'm going to fully support that. But the next morning they had a meeting and decided that everyone decided, yeah, we are going to play. I fully support that. I feel like based on our conversation we had yesterday while playing Call of Duty, I know a lot of people are like, well, we weren't there for the conversation. We have no idea what you guys said.
Mhm.
We were actually, in a way, debating on what would be the more progressive tactic. Instead, like, we weren't saying if it was right or wrong. We believe the boycott was the right thing to do. It was, what do we feel like is the next progressive step? Was that to continue boycotting, or was that to get the conversation going? And I think, what was your take, Steven?
I said they should have stayed boycotted.
And you're one of the original people, because we had an episode of probably about a month or so ago where you even mentioned, like, hey, they probably should have never even came back.
That's correct.
So you've been on that train since the very beginning.
I
And
have been on the don't return train since the beginning.
the debate maybe on like whether that was the right move or the wrong move is for maybe a different topic at this point. But like, I guess from boycott on, uh, I was saying that, like, I feel like getting the conversation going and keeping the conversation going at least keeps the social justice issues here, and continue. Even if they drop a little bit, they keep, like, seeing Black Lives Matter on the basketball court, hearing coaches and players in post-game interviews and stuff like that, I think keeps the conversation going. Whereas if they were out of the bubble doing their own individual thing, I don't think it would get as much coverage when Jaylen Brown decides to join a march
I
or
think
stuff like
that's where
that.
we differentiate because, I mean, why do they have to be by themselves when they go out and do these things? They can't do it as a team outside of basketball, outside of the bubble. Like they can't
They
march
can.
together as a team. They can't do things as a team, as an organization. I think it'll be just as powerful, if not more powerful, because they're taking a stand saying we're not going to be just entertainment for you. And I get where Lex was coming from, and he can explain his point of view right now after, or the entertainment part of it. But I just think it would have been more of a statement to just basically say no, we're tired of this. We're not gonna play basketball. This is bigger than basketball, and continue the fight there that they had before they went back to the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought for a second there, like the boycott was okay. They're realizing that maybe we need to take a step back and get back into this fight. But I mean, they came up with I don't know if you saw the statement from the NBA and the NBA Players Association of what they're going to do moving forward after the playoffs are done.
Mm-hmm.
And what's like the cliff notes of that? I didn't see that actually.
So basically, they're going to create like a coalition of coaches, players, governors, who are going to go and advocate for the change that they want. Which, to be honest, seems like something that always gets done from every organization fighting. You make a coalition or you make a committee, and they go and represent the greater population, or
Mhm.
the NBA population in this case. And basically they speak for that organization and try to convince or conduct change, which, I mean, we're still here, so I don't
I
know.
think, like, where you were kind of getting at yesterday was going back to playing basketball is not going to create a change necessarily. Like, if we need to make change, we need to make progress. It's going back to play after all this is not necessarily going to do that. Whereas I think I was arguing on the side of, like, change doesn't happen overnight, and change needs to be a consistent culture and a consistent, like, way of life. And to continue that way of life is when people are going to watch the playoffs. People are going to watch basketball. And if you are propaganda, not propaganda, but like if you are saying like Black Lives Matter in post games interview, you're wearing T-shirts. I know it's like people are gonna say that that's not enough, and I agree it's not enough, but I do believe it keeps the conversation going. For
I think
like,
that's where we differed is that you think that this will keep the conversation going, as to where I think the conversation won't end if they make that more powerful statement of not playing.
I
So
guess
that's where we kind of differ.
because my argument is okay, you take them out of the bubble, they stop playing basketball. That's the story at that point. After a couple weeks of them not playing basketball, no one's gonna care that they're not playing basketball anymore. So like even if they are making these movements outside of basketball, nope, the average person who would watch the playoffs may not be watching the movement at that point. I believe that everyone's going to watch basketball regardless of what you feel about the movement.
I guess if I were to agree with you on anything about it still going on, is that it would reach an audience outside of the United States.
Right.
So it'd be like a worldwide audience, because obviously the NBA is a worldwide sport that's televised and watched. But again, that would be part of the impact that it would make if they didn't play. I don't know. I think it would still be in the news, or it would still be out there in the mainstream media, whether they played or not, if they're voicing their opinions and, again, fighting for being on the front lines and fighting per se.
Which I think I'm going to make clear. I don't think me, Steven, or Lex are in a full disagreement with each other necessarily. I think we're just trying to figure out what we think is the best, because I think we care about the social justice aspect of everything that's going on, and we're just trying to figure out what is the best. And to be honest, like it is the Black Lives Matter movement, and none of us are black, and I don't know how it feels to be a black man in the United States, and maybe they would have more insight than we would. But I guess from just a white person watching the playoffs and stuff like that, and how I feel maybe other white people watching the playoffs, like I care enough about the social justice movement to see it like on Instagram and stuff like that. But I just think like this goes beyond social media. This goes beyond TV if they continue playing basketball.
Definitely.
Your thoughts, Lex?
No, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. It's like almost like from a debate standpoint of like, well, okay, well, you know, like what is the correct way then, or something like that. So it's almost kind of like, well, we're just trying to brainstorm what is the correct way, because yeah, I mean, at the very least, I think it's at least helping. From my opinion, I think it is helping keep the messages on the TV screen. You know what I mean, throughout the playoffs, as a helpful reminder, but also more importantly, or just as important, as like a helpful distraction, a good distraction. Like you could watch these playoffs and sort of ease these anxieties, especially as a black person or a person of color, or anyone who might be affected directly but by some of these things. It could kind of help ease the tension and anxieties of just everyday life, and you can actually enjoy the playoffs. So I just think at the very least it is a help, although obviously it's probably not going to end everyone's problems. I think it does help at least.
Right. And not to like, because like what Steve said, we don't know the hypotheticals. Like we don't know if they were to continue to boycott, how that would look. I'm assuming by a couple weeks people will just be like, oh, the basketball players are not playing, they're just out there doing their thing. And some people might tune out. I'm not saying who will and who will tune in and out. I'm saying that people watch basketball in the playoffs. So it doesn't matter what you feel about the movement, you're tuning in and you're seeing these messages. Like I think Doc Rivers, when being asked about game 5, was it game 5? And then he's now talking about Jacob Blake, and he's emotional and he's talking about it. That's people who are tuning in to see what he's thinking about the game are now finding out what he really feels about the movement. Whereas I feel like if somebody were to take an interview with Doc Rivers outside of basketball, it may not have the same, how should I say, like average viewer look at it. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, what you're saying is that more people are watching the game, and so the post game interview they're going to watch, and so now they're getting a different message than just the thoughts of the actual game. As to where if they just interviewed him in the off season, you're not going to get as many people watching that interview than the actual game itself and the post game interview.
Right.
Right? Yeah, you're saying
Like-
more eyes.
Like I was saying, like Kenny Smith walking off of the TNT set was more of an impact than if he was just already off the TNT set, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. But I mean, he's back there the next day, so I mean,
Right. So yeah, I just thought that I guess do you guys have any more thoughts before we move on to something a little bit more?
what's the definition of a boycott?
I would say it's refusal of
Basically, to stop
don't-
buying something, right? To make a fiscal impact, or to
I would
make
s-
Affect
some
the
sort of-
pockets.
either fiscally impact them or just impact them in general, right? To make some sort of impact.
well
That's
I
why,
would-
like, this was more of a what is it? A walkout, basically, and
Mhm.
an actual boycott.
Well, let me put this. I think Stephen A. Smith or somebody said this. It was on First Take, I believe, or Sports Center or something. Someone actually made a point of saying too, like the NBA, even though they could always do more, they went above and beyond to make sure that social justice was part of this bubble from the start. Even people feel like they should have played or not played, and although you might be affecting some of the sponsors' pockets and stuff like that, you are affecting the players, you're affecting the owners, and you're affecting the NBA in their pocket. And the NBA and the owners of the NBA and the owners and the players are not the ones who should be the ones necessarily losing money out of their pocket in this situation, because they've done a lot to bring attention to the movement. Whereas, like, you can maybe make this case in baseball or football, but the NBA itself tried really hard to make this a very bring awareness to the movement.
I think.
Let me
I
finish
think-
real quick.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That being said, well, that's why when the players had their meeting with the owner, they wanted something from the owners. They said, like, hey, we obviously know this affects your pocket, this affects our pocket. We're now leveraging us playing so you guys could do more. And then we now have every arena has a voting pool going into the election, and owners are going to do more about social justice moving forward. And I believe that's why I believe that even though the boycott was for 2 nights, it did result in something. And it's also now continue the conversation moving forward.
So I don't think every arena is open, just the ones that are owned by the teams
Like
or
the
the
forum.
organization.
Yeah.
Right. Second of all, sure, the NBA shouldn't lose money, the owners, the players, but at the end of the day, it's a business. It's a system, like it's an institution.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own institution. The NBA is an institution, and so whether you're a player, a coach, an owner, part of the NBA board of directors or whatever, like you're all part of that institution. And so, like, and I lost my train of thought because I was trying to say it real quick before I lost it. But you're part of that. So at the end of the day, it's a business, and they do business transactions, and they deal players in a business transaction way, not what's best for the player. So this is where I'm iffy when they say, like, oh, well, the player shouldn't lose money and the NBA cares or all that. Like, the NBA is one of the better organizations, obviously. But at the end of the day, like, if you can't make the cut for what they need, they're shipping you somewhere. They're
Mhm.
cutting you. They're dropping you. Like, there's no, oh, he has a family. Oh, he's got this. No, it's a business at the end of the day.
Well, I feel like in this specific bubble, and I think we're talking about them finishing this season, in this,
Mhm.
no one's, so maybe 1 or 2 players are getting cut by the end of this bubble.
Right. In the bubble, yes. But in general,
So,
as a whole,
I get that.
I'm talking about. And kudos to them for allowing the jersey name changes and wearing the shirts and things like that. They are very progressive and
And letting the players speak to the owners. Apparently, I was watching like the ESPN coverage. That doesn't happen very often.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
some owners are very player friendly. Some of them never even meet the players they have. Like maybe the stars, but not the actual like
Hmm.
15th man on the roster kind of thing.
Right.
But like for example, like if this happened in the NFL and we had to try to get the players and the owners to talk to each other, or in baseball the players and the owners to talk to each other, that would be a totally different story. So I feel
Yeah.
like the NBA has done a very good job of at least bringing people together and having people talk in a forum. And
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's the liaison of the players and the owners and stuff like that. And I feel like I feel like this is done. This was done pretty okay. I don't know.
Mhm.
We'll see. Well, maybe we'll know better in a few months if things are different. But
No, definitely, and they definitely set an example, and other organizations are following that lead, and um, I think it was a great first step overall. Like it was a good thing.
hmm uh, speaking of organizations, so I don't even know if this is an organization or a company or whatever, but OnlyFans. Um, do you guys know about the Bella Thorne OnlyFans kind of thing? Do you guys just have a surface level knowledge?
Yeah, I read it, or I kind of saw some of the
So
notes
we're,
on it.
so we're
I
not here
subscribe to
to
their page.
yeah, we're not we're not here to be like we're like three men talking about this at this point. But so what happened is Bella Thorne ended up breaking like a record of people money you can make on OnlyFans, right? But apparently she messaged people like, hey, you sent $200, I'll send a nude pic of me. She eventually never sent that nude pic, and everyone's hitting up OnlyFans saying like, hey, I want my money. Now if you have thousands and tens of thousands of followers who are asking for $200 a piece, OnlyFans did not have that on deck. So now OnlyFans had to make regulations on what people can do on the OnlyFans website, which is now hurting the pocket of the people who use OnlyFans as like a career, like sex workers and etc.
Are they sex workers? Is that sex?
Sex workers has been the term that I've read in most papers. That's why like I don't feel comfortable
Right.
using that word, but it's been the term that I've read in most of my articles. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Top of
like
that, there's like processing costs of like doing all these refunds of like
Right. The
hundreds of
credit card
thousands
companies.
of $200 refunds. Yeah, so like
So
that's a
so here's how I think they are. I think they're private, or they're what are they called? Contractors, right? I think they're technically contractors, right? So um the money obviously gets paid to OnlyFans, and then OnlyFans distributes it to the contractors. Well, when the contractor doesn't give the service, it's not the contractor giving back from their pocket. It's
mhm.
the company who hired the contractor paying back the money to the customer. So yes, so she basically committed like some sort of fraud, right? Like,
Mhm. Which you would think, like, apparently, so Bella Thorne said she just did OnlyFans to do research for a movie, and then apparently she name dropped a director, and the director said that this movie is not being made. And so, like, I don't know, like, maybe out of you guys, out of you three, I should probably be the one who knows this, but like, I don't know, is there any legal repercussions that Bella Thorne's gonna have to receive from this? You think?
I don't maybe only because she specified like quote unquote nude, I guess. Because I know Cardi B, no, not Cardi B, someone else, some other female rapper and another female celebrity have done this in the past over the past 6 months where they sign up for OnlyFans and they don't specify anything. So all of the paying customers are just assuming like, oh snap, they got an OnlyFans, I'm about to see some stuff, and then they subscribe and just ends up being like it like a bamboozle, like a bait and switch. Like one specific one, I forget her name, but she posted a picture of her and another girl, and it's like kind of like blocked out, right? Like the chest area, like everything that should be blocked out is blocked out. And then she was like, oh, subscribe, like sign up for my OnlyFans, blah blah blah, and you'll get to see this picture. And then when they signed up, the picture was just her and that girl in lingerie. And because they didn't make any promises or specify anything, they just pocketed like $1 million. It was a similar situation, but with Bella Thorne, I think because she specified the thing, and then the paying customers didn't like receive what was specified, I guess. I think that's probably why. If she doesn't experience repercussions. Unfortunately, everyone else who is on that website is going to, because there's a cap now. There's like a $50 something cap, and there's like a $100 tip cap. You can't tip any more than that. You can't charge any more than 50, so something like that. And yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'd like to see the data on what the average tip is and if it really makes an impact.
Right?
I'm sure there's some who use OnlyFans very well, who probably maybe exceed that $100 tip, and then there's some people who probably use it, and they get a whatever tip. But I'm sure that if it's making news that that's an issue, that the $100 tip is now a cap, I do feel like a lot of people maybe made more than $100.
And maybe
Now,
the bigger problem is the base, because I think it's like a $50 cap on the base price now. And so like if you upload something like so and so OnlyFans takes like 20% or something like that. So you're making like $32 for every maximum base thing now. So whereas I'm sure people were able to like advertise their like deluxe packages or whatever, right? It's like a McDonald's or something. And they're advertising it for like $100 or maybe $200 or $300, $500 for this crazy, insane thing that I'm offering. But you get like you pay $100 for like this level. You know, like I'm sure they were advertising levels. Now the highest level they could advertise, I think, is $50 with a $100 tip as a maximum. So I think that's probably the problem, is the base, but I don't know.
That'll obviously change. I think it was just a quick fix, band-aid solution.
so do you feel? Who knows? This could be like a Walking Phoenix thing where Bella Thorne like is trying to expose OnlyFans down the line and whatever. Did I say OnlyFans? OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. You also said
Before
Walking
the-
Phoenix.
Before this, I haven't heard of any negative like reviews from people who use the site, other than maybe like they take a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Oh,
other than
like-
that, I haven't.
Like actual users or customers?
Yeah, users.
Users. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen any stories. I mean,
You're right. I haven't either, actually.
So, do you think she's in the wrong in what
Definitely,
happened?
she's definitely in the wrong.
Do you feel like this is gonna ruin her?
No,
How should I put? Is she gonna end up making any of this money now that like since she didn't? That's what I don't think I heard anything about that. Maybe you guys know. Like, she obviously made $2 million, or she at least raised $2 million. I don't know if she gets the whole 2 million. Although other people are now trying to seek refunds from OnlyFans, does she still get her percentage?
probably not.
I think she just gets her regular subscription and stuff, but not like the pay-per-view $200 one. 'Cause I guess that's what it
And-
is. I guess it's like pay-per-view.
Do you think they could also make the case that nude is a universal term for even being in a bikini or something on that nature?
No, I don't know. What's the definition of nude?
I don't know if
I don't
she's
know.
gonna try to.
You're asking a lot of
tackle that.
definitions that we don't have our Webster's dictionary. Dude. my phone search history is gonna say like boycott nude.
Like when you buy like a nude color, it's like skin tone, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming nude would be nothing, no clothes. So no, I don't think nude counts for bikini or lingerie. That's not nude.
Do you think she did a good job of taking advantage of the system though?
Oh yeah, she took advantage of all those simps who paid for her OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Should we make an OnlyFans for Ash?
If people just want to watch us mess up on the microphone, then yeah. I had okay, so a couple of our viewers out there, and I'll keep you guys anonymous because one of you guys said, "Oh man, you guys have like just say my name out there, right, Jesse?" But yeah, they really enjoy the very cringy transitions and segues we have into the different topics, and like how
It's funny 'cause-
slow and bitter they are, but still they give a laugh. So
I was about to complain about that too. Ironically enough, I was just like, man, like, hey guys, man, we either have to go for it or go all the way the other end with it. But I don't know, media.
even though like I think we've been doing this for the past month and a half consistently, right? Probably since July.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like it's gotten better, and hopefully
Oh,
it has
yeah.
gotten better. And you know, we do what we can. You know, we all got lives outside of this, and
Sometimes we have two different topics, and I sit there and try to relate them in a way to make them transition each other into.
how do you go? How do you go from a hair abortion to NBA
Oh, no.
social justice boycott to Bella Thorne OnlyFans ripping people off? Like, how do you transition those?
There's
So-
no transition.
So maybe it could have been we should have gone from hair abortion to OnlyFans, and then find a way of like messing with the system into NBA boycott.
Yeah.
That should be a clip though for Instagram. Your transition thing.
Can you say the word abortion though? Like,
What's wrong with
Yeah.
the word abortion though?
I don't know. It's a
Well, okay, yesterday. Remember
It's a
when
graphic way of looking at a haircut.
yeah.
Remember, so we were playing Call of Duty last night, Lex, and I was like, we were using the word
I
cuck
heard.
a lot, and I was like, hey, you know what? Like, eventually we're gonna like not like cuck's not gonna be an appropriate word to use. Like, I don't think it's appropriate to use now necessarily either, but it's like it's gonna be really not appropriate at some point, and there's gonna be cuck shamers.
That's true, and it's funny too because like even up until this point, it's not like a horrendous word, right? Like in like the toddler way of thinking, it's a bad word, but that's about it, right? Like a curse word. But okay, so like originally it was literally just cuckold, right? That's like a term that was used in the Shakespearean days. Shakespeare might have even invented the word, I think, but that, don't quote me on that. My brain's all mush after the first week of my master's program. But also during like the 2016 Trump campaign, like it was used as like a anti-liberal thing, like, oh, liberals are just cucks or whatever. Like it was like, like conservatives always use that for like to refer to liberals. And now it's
Now we use it.
now only we use it. Yeah. I was like, wait, it's not really popular right now. So it's weird. I think we just like think the way the word sounds is funny, but yeah, we're gonna look back at this video and we're like, all right, well, I don't know if it's gonna ever be like a horrendous word though.
It doesn't alienate a certain group of people.
Exactly. Only if like
Unless-
a hate group in the future decides to champion the word and start using it for their causes, then people might look at this video and be like,
Right.
"Oh, you've been using the whole dude." We're using it just because it sounds funny, and the original meaning is cuckold.
To us, it's not alienating a group of people, but if somebody considers themselves a cuck, like, then they can take it offensive, which is very common in today's culture.
I
That's
watched
hilarious.
an Instagram video of people who made a club based on people who like to watch their clothes being washed. So they would go to this guy's house and they would have like all these washing machines and
Clothing
watch
cucks?
clothes being washed at like 4 a.m. And I was like, if there's a group out there like that, then there's obviously a group out there that probably doesn't think cuck is an appropriate word. to be
Clothing cucks.
clothing
Wild.
cucks.
That was Steven's. My bad. I just I had to like cite my source.
Right.
But,
Well, this is a pretty awkward episode.
yeah, it is awkward. It's an awkward episode. By the next episode, I'm gonna have hair.
We'll see.
Daddy, chill.